All right, it's time for another Fibble. This is the game that's just like Wordle, but on every row, one of the clues is a lie. Now, I had a suggestion from someone to try something. They said they didn't know if it would even be possible, but I think I'm going to try it and see. But they suggested, why don't I do a 5-word, 25-letter start, which some people use for Wordle. So we'll essentially have 6 guesses in the grid at that point, which will only leave 3 guesses left. So we won't have very many options, but we'll have a lot of information theoretically. So I thought I'd try it. The typical 5-word, 25-letter start that people use is brick, glent, jumpy, vazhood, and wakfus. So I'm going to go with that. Why not? So we'll do brick, glent, jumpy, vazhood. And this is probably not how some of these are pronounced, but, you know, wakfs. Okay, so now what can we figure out from that? Well, we've got a lot of yellows and greens and things. There's nothing... well, between kappa and brick, we know one of the K's is a lie, but we didn't repeat anything else. We know one of these P's is a lie between kappa and jumpy, but again, there's nothing else repeated. So, interesting that kappa and the wakfs, whatever, both have an A and they're both yellow. So, I mean, unless these are both lies, that's probably true. If this K is true, then this K is a lie, and these would have to be true. I mean, one thing we can say for sure is all of these yellows and greens can't be true, right? Because we'd have, well, even ignoring kappa, we'd have RINTPHAS. That would be 8 letters in our 5-letter word. Add in the K, we've got 9 letters. So, that's interesting because we know one of the RI is true, one of the KA is true, one of the NT is true. One of the AS is true as well, but it could be the A and not the S, potentially. And if we're assuming that there is an A, right? We're assuming maybe the yellow A is true. Let's say we put an A third. Well, if we also did the S, then we'd have to do a W, a Q, or an F. I'm kind of tempted to do like the greens, just because we're likely to get a contradiction and that'll help us figure out some lies. Well, and I have hard mode turned off, obviously, because you can't do this with hard mode. So we could just repeat 5 of the yellows and greens. Yeah, we don't even have to do a potential answer. I'm so used to having to guess a potential answer, but we don't have to do that. So let's do... We could do something like parts. Although I'm thinking the A is probably third if there is one. I mean, not necessarily, but that's the likely location. So maybe traps would be better. And then we're repeating the P in the same spot as well. I don't know, let's go with that. Okay, so... well, one of these 2 S's is a lie, so there's definitely an A in the word. There's definitely an A in the word. So, I mean, unless it's second and both of these are lies, those are probably true. The K is probably the lie there. Okay, so, I mean, we could go with the A and the S, but then we have to have a W, Q, or F, which isn't great. There could be an F. Okay, well, let's think about something else, though, here. We know at least one of these 2, the T and the R, is true. I'm going to undo the A's because we don't have for sure. One of these 2 has to be true. They can't both be lies, right? Whichever one is true means it's a lie up here, which means the I and or the N have to be true. And in fact, if we make this S the lie, let's say that we think the S is at the end, then that forces that. Now, it also makes the P the lie here, which works out okay. But we'd have to have, if there's the N, you'd have to have ANS, and we'd have to have an I, and a W, Q, or F. So it would have to be iFans or iWans or Weons or something. Yeah, it's not going to work. That's not going to work. So the S, the green S cannot be true. This has to be the lie, which makes the rest of these true. Which means this is true. Which means this green A is likely to be true. Now we don't know for sure that there is even an S in the word. This yellow S could be the lie as well. But if the yellow S is the lie, again, it makes the R and the T lies up here. And you need an I, and so then you would have AN. You're in the same situation, just don't have the S at the end. You still need I mean, you could do the I at the end, but the thing is, at that point, everything's gray except for the X. The X is the only letter we haven't already checked. So if we make all of these yellows lies, it's just those letters. And so it would just be X, A, N, and I, which is hard to do. So I'm thinking this S is probably true. So what if we did like STA? Okay, we'll say the T is the lie. So the R is still true. So then you need the I. I. The T would be true. Ooh, we could do stain. That would work. The N would be the lie in glent. The T would be true. The N would be the lie because it's supposed to be at the end. And you can see we've got one lie. That would actually be a possible answer. I think that's pretty good. Let's go for it. There we go. Very nice. Okay. Well, it's definitely harder doing this type of approach because you can't really use the looking for contradictions to find the lies thing because, I mean, a little bit, that's what we did essentially with traps, but it still required a little bit of, well, if this was true, this, and that, which doesn't have an answer kind of thing, as opposed to, you know, oh, well, this is a contradiction and this is a contradiction. There's your two contradictions. Everything else is true. That's a little bit easier if it works out for you. It doesn't always work out, but all right, cool. Well, you know, we only had 3 guesses after doing that 5-word start, and it only took 2. So let me know if you were able to catch the puzzle in a trap today with its lies, and if you've ever tried to do, you know, a 3, 4, 5-word start like this, and how it worked out for you. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more.